Hello students, welcome back to this session where we are going to learn about dividends and legal provisions related to the payment of dividends. Before that, let us understand what a dividend is. The word dividend is derived from Latin word dividenda, which means something to be divided. Dividend is the return which the shareholders get on the shares which they have subscribed and paid to the company. Dividend can also be called as the payment which is made by the company to its shareholders from the profit of the company. So we can say that dividend is the return on the investment made by the shareholders in the share capital of the company. At the onset, let me clarify that dividend is different from interest. Interest is the return on borrowed capital, whereas dividend is the return on investment made in the share capital of a company. Interest is a charge against profit, whereas dividend is appropriation of profit. Interest is a liability which the company has to discharge even if a company suffers loss, whereas dividend is an appropriation of profit which is calculated after providing all the expenses including interest. Finally, interest is always a commitment which has to be paid by the borrower to the lender, but dividend is not a commitment. Moving further, let us see the two types of dividend which a company provides. They are final dividend and interim dividend. Final dividend is the dividend which is declared by the board of directors during the annual general meeting, whereas interim dividend is the dividend declared by the company between two annual general meetings. So we can see that the final dividend is declared at the end of the financial year after the company calculates the amount of distributable profits. On the other hand, an interim dividend is declared on the basis of estimation made in the provisional financial statements. Coming to the source of payment, please remember that final dividend is paid out of profit earned in the previous financial year. On the other hand, an interim dividend is paid out of surplus in the profit and loss account or out of profit of the financial year in which such an interim dividend is declared, or out of profit generated by the company till the quarter preceding the date of declaration of interim dividend. Let us now look at the procedure for declaration and payment of dividend. First, let us look at the procedure of declaration and payment of interim dividend. The interim dividend can be declared and paid only if the articles of association of a company are allowing a company to do so. If the company decides to declare the interim dividend, it should give a notice for a meeting to be held to the board of directors. Then the company should give a prior intimation to the stock exchange where the securities of the company is listed. Next, the board meeting of the directors takes place where the directors ensure that they have sufficient profits to declare interim dividend. Now, the company should open the interim dividend account with a bank and should transfer the amount of interim dividend within 5 days into that account and start the payment of the dividend. Let us now look at the procedure for declaring and payment of final dividend. The procedure for declaring and payment of final dividend is almost similar to the procedure of declaring interim dividend. This also starts with the notice of board meeting where the directors mainly approve the annual accounts and on that basis recommend the rate of final dividend which will be declared in the next annual general meeting. The directors in this meeting also discuss the time, date and venue of the next AGM or any general meeting. Before this, the directors should give a formal intimation to the stock exchange where the security of the company is listed. Now, the company will declare the dividend at its AGM. Once the dividend is declared, the company should credit the amount of dividend to a scheduled bank account within 5 days of such declaration and start the payment. So this was all about some provisions related to the payment of dividend. In the next video, we will look at the legal restrictions which a company has to follow when it comes to the declaration and payment of dividend. Till then, happy learning.